I guess Alex, probably he's gonna present it. Yeah,
There.
You ready?
that's it. Yeah, you can do it.
You read it out, Mr. Munson.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, Judge, I can. Good afternoon.
Okay, good. Okay, let me call CR-5462-19-B, State of Texas versus Guillermo Villarreal on a defendant's motion to suppress.
Yes, we are present and we are ready, Judge, to go forward.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Is it a with or without a warrant?
Without a warrant, Judge.
Okay, so I guess you have the burden, Mr. Bazan, is that right?
That is correct, Judge.
All right, you may proceed, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. If it may please the court, Your Honor, at this time, the state would like to call Officer Daniel Escobedo to testify.
Okay.
And if he's gonna testify regarding the stop, Mr. Wassan, that's not an issue. The only issue is the motion to suppress the standard field sobriety test and the arrest based on an improper standard field sobriety test. So
That is correct. Yes, I understand. No, we could stipulate to the legality of the stop. I just briefly need Officer Escobedo, since he was the one that advised Officer Peña of his suspicion.
Okay, so where is he?
Judge, they should be logged on. Maybe they're in the waiting room.
Okay.
There he is.
Here's Officer Escobedo.
Okay, there he is. Officer Escobedo, good morning, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Answer, do you swear testimony in this matter shall be the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bazan?
Yes, Your Honor. If it may please the court, defense counsel. Officer, can you please state your full name for the record?
Daniel Escobedo.
Yes. And Officer Escobedo, what is your current line of occupation right now?
Judge, all agree and stipulate Officer Escobedo as a peace officer with the state of Texas, that on September the 13th of the year 2019, he was employed with, I believe it was Palmview Police Department, Judge, and he's the one who did the traffic stop.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'll continue. Officer Escobedo, in your line of work, are you trained to detect intoxication on individuals or intoxicated?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you could briefly enlighten us a little bit on, what your experience and training is in that issue, in that regards.
It's just how to see the way they're acting, their eyes, their speech. If there's smell, we could take alcohol smell, and how to do the exams to properly leave the subject could be intoxicated or under the influence of a narcotic.
Okay. Now, Officer Escobedo, you took part on a traffic stop on the day of September 13th, 2019. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the individual that you stopped, do you see him on the screen?
No.
You do not see him on the screen?
No, sir.
Okay. How many screens do you see? Can you scroll through the screens?
It's agreed and stipulated, Mr. Villarreal. Guillermo Villarreal is present, Judge, under Calixto Villarreal's screen. Client.
Okay. I'll continue, Your Honor. Thank you. Okay. Now, Officer, on the day of this offense, September 13th, 2019, as we stated, you were involved in a traffic stop. Did you come in contact with the driver of that vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about how the initial contact took place?
Since the traffic stop started?
Yes. Once the traffic stop started.
Okay, for a speeding violation, 95 on a 65. We were stationary on westbound frontage. He passed on express westbound, traveling westbound at 95 miles per hour on a 65 posted zone.
Okay. And did you initiate a traffic stop?
Yes, sir.
Did you make contact with the driver?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what happened when can you walk us through when you first made contact with the driver?
Oh, so I just stepped like to the driver's side, made contact with the driver. He rolled down his window. I informed the regional traffic stop 95 on 65. Asked him where he was going to. He was going to Rio Grande. That's what he stated. Well, he stated he was coming from McAllen. So then from there, I just asked for a driver license, and then I was able to notice his eyes or the pupil size was large, too large, not normal to any normal person. So from there, I just went back, advised Officer Peña what I saw, and then from there he took over the traffic stop.
Okay. Now, Officer Escobedo, if you could just elaborate a little bit more in what you refer to as his eyes. What did you observe in his eyes, and what did that tell you?
Okay, he had a red, and the pupil size it was large, real large, that it didn't seem normal like to a regular person.
Okay. And what does that mean when someone's pupils are large?
That usually when they're under the influence of a narcotic.
Okay. Now, at this point, Officer Escobedo, do you believe that there was sufficient probable cause to arrest the defendant in this matter? At this
Yes, sir.
point, at this point,
Yes, sir.
you
Well, to arrest.
let me rephrase the question. At that point when you first observed his eyes and that they were large and that they were red bloodshot, at that very instance, was there enough probable cause to arrest him?
At that time, no.
Okay. So then you said that you proceeded to tell Officer Peña what you observed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And why did you do that?
Because he was the officer on shift that day. I was a passenger.
Okay. You were a passenger.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
Officer Peña went over, when we made contact with him, and I stayed in the unit checking his license plate, his driver license.
Okay. So you made the initial, you were the first one to make the observation of signs of intoxication.
Yes, sir.
No further questions, Judge.
Villarreal?
Yes, is it Escobedo?
Yes, sir.
Is Escobedo? Yeah, can you hear me okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you were a passenger that day on a unit, on a police officer unit there?
Yes, sir.
And it was near Highway 83, an intersection with Goodwin Street there in Palmview, correct?
Oh, that was the final stop, I believe.
Okay, and I've received a copy of a report that was, I believe, authored by you. On the top, it reads Escobedo. You're the only Escobedo on this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
And on the very top of it, it has the Palmview Police Department, it has the address, and this is a report you authored, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you have a suspect for possible intoxication, I'm sure that you start looking at the as soon as you make eye contact with the vehicle. And I read your report. You indicated you stopped him for speeding reasons, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you have the report in front of you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When I looked at the report, I did not notice that in your report you failed to write in there that you noticed him weaving. He wasn't weaving, correct?
No.
According to your report, there's nothing there about him going across lanes, correct?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
There's nothing like that, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Is that okay? There's nothing about him swerving on the Highway 83, correct?
Correct.
And there's nothing about him drifting from one side to the other, correct?
Correct.
And there's nothing about him almost striking other vehicles, correct?
Correct.
When the sirens or the lights were turned on, there's nothing about in your report that he had problems stopping, correct?
Correct.
And there's nothing about your report that he had problems obeying any traffic signals or signals that you or your partner might have instructed him, sort of like the lights for him to stop, correct?
Correct.
He didn't, as soon as there's nothing on your report that he failed to put his turning signal to park on the shoulder of Highway 83, correct?
Correct.
There's nothing in your report that he was slow to the response of the signals that you gave him to stop, correct?
Correct.
There's nothing in your report that he failed to properly park after you advised him to put, you advised him to stop with your red and blue signals?
Correct.
There's nothing in your report that he had his headlights off or that he failed to put the turning signal to stop properly, correct?
Correct.
Is that correct? There's nothing in your report that he was following too close to another vehicle?
Correct.
Okay, is it your radio that's on, Officer Escobedo?
Yes, sir. I'm on shift right now.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, because I was hearing different things. There's nothing in your report that he improperly, once safely parked on the shoulder?
Correct.
Or that he improperly followed any response, any commands that you gave him?
Correct.
Okay, so then you get off your vehicle. So we know that the only thing in your report is speeding, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you get off your vehicle and you go make contact with Mr. Guillermo Villarreal. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
You're the first one that makes contact with him, right?
Correct.
And you advised him that you wanted to see his driver's license, right?
Correct.
And in your report, you indicate that he obeyed the command, correct?
Correct.
There's nothing in your report that he struggled with his driver's license or was trembling or couldn't find it or was fumbling the driver's license, correct?
Correct.
You asked him for his name and he gave you his correct name. Is that right?
Correct.
There's nothing in your report that he had, in fact, you just told the court right now, you said there's some symptoms that I recognize, and you said slurred speech. Do you recall that?
No, it wasn't for speech. It was a red bloodshot eyes.
Sorry?
Both eyes.
Okay. But your report is blank about Mr. Guillermo Villarreal having slurred speech, correct?
I didn't state that.
Objection, Your Honor. Officer Escobedo did not state that the defendant had slurred speech.
Well, I'm saying, does your report indicate that he had slurred speech, sir? Yes or no?
It doesn't state.
You also told the court that some of the symptoms or things you look for is alcohol smell, correct?
No, sir.
You didn't tell the court that you look for several things. You said red eyes, slurred speech, alcohol smell, and something else. I don't understand my writing, but you gave the court 4 different clues that you look for, didn't you?
He said, what kind of training do we get and what do we look for? But
Well, and I'm
that
talking
I that on him, that I saw it on him.
Okay, well, listen to my question. I said, is there anything on your report that there was alcohol smell? I'm not saying that there was. I'm just saying if you would have smelled alcohol, you would have put it down, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, you didn't do that because you didn't smell alcohol, right?
No.
Okay, you didn't put slurred speech because he didn't have slurred speech, correct?
Correct.
And then you gave the 4th reason I can't understand, but the only thing you did put on your report was red shot eyes and large pupil, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, I looked at your record for the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, and I noticed that you're not certified. You need at least 80 hours to be certified as a DRE, a drug recognition expert. You're not an expert on drug recognition, are you, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, and there's also, when people notice that someone's intoxication under the influence of drugs, there's a 12-step checklist, a protocol that needs to be done to see if a person is driving under the influence of drugs, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you didn't do that since you're not trained to do that. You're not certified as a drug recognition expert, correct?
Correct.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Bazan?
Brief follow-up. Now, Officer Escobedo, as mentioned, you're not certified as a drug abuse recognition expert. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is Officer Pena DAR certified?
Yes.
Okay. Is that possibly why you told Officer Pena about what your observations were?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Officer Escobedo, to the best of your knowledge, were your observations and your observations alone the reason for the defendant's arrest?
No, sir.
No further questions, Judge.
What time
No
was the
further-
stop? Mr. Villarreal, any more questions?
No further questions. Sir.
Okay. What time was the stop, Officer Escobedo?
Approximately 12:09,
12:09 in the morning or the afternoon?
midnight here in the morning.
Midnight? Okay, thank you, sir. Next witness, please.
Yes, Judge, at this time, the state would call Officer Peña to the stand.
Okay.
Officer Ruben Peña.
Ruben Peña?
May Officer Escobedo be excused, Judge?
Yes, thank you very much, Officer Escobedo.
Yes, sir.
Officer Peña, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
do you swear testimony in this matter shall be the truth, so help you God, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Basan?
Yes, Judge. If it may please the court, defense counsel. Defense counsel, if I may just briefly ask Mr. Villarreal if he's also stipulating to the credentials of this officer and the validity of.
Yes, I am, Judge. I'll agree, stipulate that he's a peace officer back on September 13th of the year 2019 with the state of Texas and was employed with the Palmview Police Department.
Okay, I'll approve the stipulation then.
Okay, thank you, Judge. I'll continue. Officer, can you please state your full name for the record?
Ruben Peña,
Okay. And Officer Peña, what is your current title right now with Palmview PD?
patrol officer.
Okay. Now, Officer Peña, relevant to this arrest, you participated in a stop on the day of September 13th, 2019. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this stop eventually led to a DWI and possession of a controlled substance arrest. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, in reading your report, Officer, I see that you state that you're drug abuse recognition certified.
Yes, sir.
Can you please tell us a little bit about what that is and what you had to do to receive those certifications?
Okay, so I attended a course at South Texas College in Stark County. About 2 years ago, I got sent by my department over there. I was trained by a narcotics agent from California on how to be able to observe people who are intoxicated, more than not just on alcohol, on other narcotics, illegal narcotics or narcotics, right? That they can be overusing. So I learned what to look for, what to observe, signs of intoxication, symptoms. The course was 40-hour course, 8 hours for 8 hours a day. I took exam, I passed it, and I became certified, and my department has that certificate.
And Officer Peña, how long have you been DAR certified?
3 years.
Okay, thank you. Now, Officer, it's already been established that on this day there was a traffic stop for speeding, and that Officer Escobedo was the initial officer to make contact with the defendant in this case. Now, what did Officer Escobedo tell you after he first made contact with the defendant?
He informed me the driver had red bloodshot eyes and seemed to be intoxicated.
Okay. And then what did you do next?
What I did next, I told him, okay, well, I'll take over, since he was fairly a new officer being trained at the moment. I took over since I was the more experienced officer and the drug abuse recognition officer.
So at that point, it'd be appropriate for you to take over.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So then, what were your initial observations when you first made contact with the defendant?
He also had the red bloodshot eyes, and as I kept talking to him, he had slurred speech.
Now, was there anything else that you observed on his eyes other than red bloodshot eyes?
Large pupil size.
Okay. So I'd like to focus a little bit since you are DAR certified. Can you tell us a little bit about what what red bloodshot eyes and large pupil sizes indicate?
So the red bloodshot eyes, it could be under the influence of any substance, right? The large pupil, it's only a certain narcotics that cause the large pupil size, which is either stimulants and what's that other word? If I remember, I'll tell you the word. But what was your question again, so I can continue answering?
Yes, sorry. Let me repeat. What does someone is showing red bloodshot eyes and large pupil size mean, or what does it indicate?
That they clearly are under the influence of some type of narcotic.
So now, officer, you stated a little while ago that it could have been from different drugs. Now, is there a difference between the signs that one shows when they're under the influence of drugs opposed to maybe alcohol?
Can you repeat yourself, please?
Yes. Is there a difference in the signs that someone shows when they're under the influence of drugs or compared to alcohol?
Yes.
Okay. And are you trained to make those recognitions?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And now, this is a very important question, officer, that I'm about to ask. So you could please pay attention. Just based on your observations of the defendant's eyes, at that point in the traffic stop, was there enough probable cause to arrest the defendant?
Yes, there was.
Just based on those initial observations?
Yes.
Okay. So then, officer, if I may ask, what was the point of doing the standard field sobriety tests?
To confirm, just to confirm, to check the level of his intoxication.
Okay. So just based on the initial eyes, you believe there was sufficient probable cause?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, officer, what happened after you initially made contact with him and you made these observations? What happened next?
Well, I asked him if you would like to perform the sobriety test, which he never wanted to do. I explained it was more of an opportunity to make sure, if he was going to be intoxicated or not. But eventually he complied because he wanted a supervisor on scene. Okay. Eventually he complies, right? And he performs the sobriety test. And it was confirmed he was under the influence.
So now let's backtrack a little bit and we'll go through each of the steps. Now you say that initially he didn't want to take the test, but he did. Now, can you tell us what is the general practice when somebody refuses the standard field sobriety tests?
If you refuse the sobriety test and the officer has enough that the subject is under the influence, protocol, it's an automatic arrest for refusal.
Okay. Do you have any discretion on that?
Yeah, we have discretion on that.
So you can make the decision that if they refuse, you don't have to arrest them.
Correct.
Okay. Now, in this particular case, when the defendant said that he didn't want to take the test, what did you tell him?
I told him that, hey, you can perform the test, and because he said he wasn't under the influence, I said, well, let's do the SFSTs and we'll learn more from there. But he kept refusing.
Okay. So then, what happened that he eventually, did the SFSTs?
What I recall, he was just requesting a supervisor on scene.
And was a supervisor called?
Another officer, seniority at the time in charge of the shift, showed up.
And at that point, did the defendant comply with doing the SFSTs?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go a little bit through the SFSTs. So what was the first test that was administered?
The HGN.
Okay, and what is the HGN?
Horizontal gaze nextamis.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about the test? What it entails, what you look for. Can you just elaborate on it?
Yeah. So first, what I look for is the pupil size, and like I said, that was out of the ordinary. Then I look for the equal tracking of the eyes. From there, now I start to have him follow my pen with his eyes, and I start looking for tweaking on the eyes.
Okay. So what did you see from the defendant? What signs did he show?
He showed the large pupil size was there, the lack of equal tracking, and also the jerking of the eyes on the on all the which is a 45 angle in the onset. He had jerking on all of them.
Okay. So then, what does that tell you? His performance on the first test.
Clearly under the influence of something.
Okay. So then, what is the second test that was administered?
The second administered was the walk and turn.
Okay. And what's the walk and turn, officer? If you could just elaborate on that in detail, what the walk and turn is, what it entails, what are the instructions that are given? If you could please enlighten the court what that is.
Yeah. So on the walk and turn, first thing I do is as he asks the subject to place his hands on the side of his seams, feet together. Once I see that, okay, I ask the subject to put his right foot in front of his left foot and stand in that position until I further instruct what to do. From there, I instruct the subject to walk 9 steps heel to toe manner. Once he gets to the 9 steps, turn around again, whichever pivot foot. He at the time he landed was a 9-step, turn around and walk 9 steps again. And then as he's doing the test, keep his hands, get the hands on the side of the seam. Look at your steps, count them out loud so I can hear you.
Now, do you show them or instruct them how they're supposed to turn after their 9th step?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and how are they supposed to turn after that 9th step?
So when you start, you walk the 9 steps. Once you land on your 9th step, whichever foot it is, you pivot to your left. So now you're facing the opposite way how you started, and you walk 9 steps that way.
Okay, and after you make that turn, and you put your foot down, is that considered the first step?
Yes.
Okay. Did you give this instruction to the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in regards to you giving the defendant the instructions for the walk and turn, were you able to, did the defendant allow you to give these instructions in a clear manner?
Eventually I did. He would interrupt me throughout the instructions. Yeah, but I mean, eventually I made sure for him to, and be clear what the instructions were.
Okay. Now, so in reading your report, officer, and looking in the video, you tell the defendant to put his right foot in front during the instructions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is that standard protocol when giving the instructions?
Yes.
Okay. Whenever you do these standard field sobriety tests, do you always have the subjects, in that position while you're giving the instructions for the walk and turn?
Yes.
Okay. So how did the defendant respond when you instructed him to remain in that position?
What I recall was that he couldn't be that position because he couldn't balance himself.
Okay. And what did you tell him?
What I recall, I told him that that's just the way the sobriety tests are to be performed to start in that position.
So now, when they're in the starting position, if they're not able to balance themselves, is that something that you take into account during your investigation?
Yes, they can't balance themselves, so it's a factor of being under the influence.
Okay. So at one point, you instruct the defendant to put his hands by the seam of his pants. Not exactly in those words, but you turn to put them on his side. What is the
Yes.
first thing that the defendant did once you told him to put his hands to his side?
Picked up his hands.
Okay. And what did that tell you?
That he was unable to listen to my instructions.
Okay. Now, how did the what did you observe when the defendant did the test?
He walked the he walked the steps.
Okay, and what did you observe when he walked the steps?
He couldn't touch it. He couldn't touch the heel to toe manner.
Okay. Were those the only observations? So, like, what were the clues that you saw during the walk and turn?
Okay, so he raised his hands. He couldn't touch heel to toe manner. I instructed him to pretend there's a line. Just be as straight as you can in the line. He couldn't do that straight. Stay on a straight line. Heel to toe manner. He turns him properly, and then when he walks back, he does the same thing.
Now, at any point, did he ask you if he can use the line that's on the expressway?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you tell him?
If I recall, and I think we didn't use it because of just for safety purposes, traffic.
Okay. Is there a possibility that you might have let him use the line?
If we might have, like I said, I didn't get to review the footage. I put based on the report, but it was a possibility, yeah, because it might have been like late at night, not that much traffic on the expressway. But so many times that I've done this, I always usually I say no, depending on traffic, right? So it might have been a chance that we did use it because traffic was light,
Okay.
and
Now,
it makes a clear white line. Yeah.
Now, if you would have let him use that white line, do you think that would have made the test easier to do?
Definitely, because now you don't have to imagine it. Now it's in front of you to see it and walk over it.
Okay. So if you were to see the video, officer, do you think your testimony might change depending on what you see?
No.
And again, let me rephrase that question. I was asking in regards to the line itself, him using the line.
Oh yeah, of course. If it's on video, I confirm. I agree that I did ask that. If he asked, I was okay with that.
Okay. Now, what is the next test that was administered? Oh,
The extent.
Sorry, I apologize. I should have asked. So, based on his performance on the walking turn test, what conclusion did you come to based on that performance, just on the walking turn?
What are my conclusions?
Based on the walking turn test.
That he was under the influence.
Okay. And then, was there any other tests that were administered?
The one leg stand.
Okay, and what is the one leg stand?
One leg stand. Here we go. So, the way I start to instruct it is you put your feet together, arms on the side, and I ask them to remain in that position to further instructions. Okay. I instruct them you're gonna raise your whichever foot you like, doesn't matter which one, raise your foot approximately 6 inches off the ground, foot parallel to the ground. Count up to 30 seconds. I make sure you know how to count up 30 seconds. Okay, count up to 30 seconds. Once those 30 seconds over, the test is done.
Okay. And how How did the defendant do in this case, on the one leg stand?
I remember him swaying too much, so he was still he was off balance.
Okay. So what happened next, officer? Once he finished doing the standard field sobriety test, what happened next?
So once we're done, I had reasonable doubt to believe he was under the influence, so he was placed under arrest.
Okay, he was placed under arrest.
Yes.
Okay, and what happened once you and by under arrest you mean you placed him in cuffs? Is that correct?
Correct.
That's the issue.
I'm
Judge,
sorry? Yes, sir.
that's the issue. That's the extent of our motion to suppress up to this point. We're asking that anything after that be suppressed. So all agree and stipulate that at this point, the officer thought he had enough probable cause. Obviously, that's a determination for the court to make.
Okay.
But beyond that, we don't need any other testimony. Judge.
All right. Mr. Bazan, your response?
Judge, that's fine, Judge. At this time, we'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Mr. Villarreal?
Thank you. Is it Officer Peña?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. My name is Calixto Villarreal, and I represent Mr. Guillermo Villarreal. He's under client. You see him there on the screen?
I don't.
Okay, well, I know you were not asked, but the gentleman is on the screen. I don't know if you can see him or
Oh,
not,
okay.
but he's listening to everything, okay?
Okay, tell him I said hi.
I will. I'll let him know. Now, you started this afternoon telling the court that you were certified as a drug recognition expert, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was able to get your records from the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Personnel Status Report, okay?
Yes, sir.
And I noticed, and let me tell you that in order to be certified as a DRE, drug recognition expert, you need at least 80 hours, okay? And I looked at your, and I can forward that.
I'm
Okay,
not
listen to my question.
D-A-R-E. Hey,
Okay.
sir, you got it wrong.
Well, listen to-
I'm not D-A-R-E.
Okay, sir, you put on your report that you were certified. Do you recall that? I have your report and you used the word, I am certified as a drug. You put, I am certified as a drug.
Abuse.
Let me see. I'm sorry?
Drug abuse
Okay.
recognition.
Okay, well, there's a difference between being certified and receiving a certificate, correct?
So
Is that
you're saying that I'm D-A-R-E. I'm not D-A-R-E. I'm just D-A-R. Drug
okay?
abuse
And the only
recognition.
thing you have is a certificate, not a certification. There's a difference. I took a class on CPR. That doesn't make me a medical doctor. I got a certificate. That does not allow me to go teach CPR. It only says that I was present in a class for a period of hour and I had a certificate. Correct. That's what you have. You don't have a certification.
Okay.
At least according to your records. According to the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, I don't see a certification. I requested your certification. It does not have a certification. All it does is that you attended some classes.
Okay.
Is that right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm asking you. Okay. So can we agree and stipulate this afternoon, sir, that you are not certified? You have a certificate that you attended courses, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You also told the court that you noticed that he had slurred speech. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I went through your report that says Peña from the police office report from Palmview Police Department, and I failed to see where you wrote in the report that you noticed he had slurred speech, sir. You didn't put that down, right? Correct, sir?
If it's not on the paper, correct, sir.
Okay. Then you indicated that he had red, bloodshot eyes, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and large pupils, correct?
Correct.
And you said that that was enough probable cause, sir, when you come in contact with a person who has large pupils, that to you was enough probable cause to arrest a person when he or she has large pupils? Is that what you're telling this court?
With red bloodshot eyes and based on my interview, yes, sir, I had enough to arrest him.
Without doing any standard field sobriety test?
With him refusing, I had enough to arrest him.
No,
Now without doing it, him refusing.
Okay. So let's have an understanding. I'll ask the questions. If they have further follow-ups, I'm sure Mr. Vassan will follow up. You told the court that based on large pupils, and I wrote it down, that was enough to have arrested him. Is that what you're saying today also, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I also went through your Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, your personnel status report, sir, and it indicates that you took some courses on the standard field sobriety test. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
And you took those courses sometime in 2016, sir?
Yes, sir.
And it specifically says that you were trained under NHTSA, the National Highway Transportation and Safety Association. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that you took those courses with law enforcement here in Stark County and in another, I guess, neighboring county with another agency. Do you recall that? Or that was the drug recognition?
Yes,
but the NHTSA, did you take it with, I think it indicated Texas Department of Public Safety?
Yes, sir.
In fact, every person who takes standard field sobriety courses, the Bible for these standard field sobriety courses, sir, it's a book from NHTSA. This is the book that is used, and it's published by NHTSA, and this is what the Texas Department of Public Safety uses, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's the same book that you study from, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the first word on the test, it's called standard, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how old of a man are you, sir?
What's that question again?
What is your age?
27.
Okay, I'm a lot older than you. I'm sure that back when I was a young kid, there was a test called the California Achievement Test, CAT. You don't recall that one, right?
No, sir.
You're too young. Okay, well, that test had to be administered to every student in the state of Texas and other states, and it had to be administered in a standard way, okay? And if that test wasn't administered, Mr. Peña, in a standard way, it would be voided. You agree with me? That any
Yes,
test
sir.
that is a standard test has to be administered in certain ways. You cannot deviate from it. Would you agree with me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in other words, every person that you stop and that you suspect of driving under the influence, okay, or driving while intoxicated, you would have to administer the standard field sobriety test in the same way, form, and shape, correct?
Correct.
In other words, if you were to stop me in Palmview on January the 1st and you suspected that I was intoxicated, the same exam you administered to me would be the same exam you would have administered to Mr. Guillermo Villarreal. You cannot deviate from it, right?
Yes, sir.
Because that's what you learn. That's what you learn in school, right?
Correct.
And if you deviate from it, then your results would not be accurate, correct?
Correct.
Because the test was not performed in the same standard way for every person. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. In this particular case, you indicated that you first did the HGN test. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that is a test that we see officers on the side of the road. You indicated you used a pen, but in this particular case, you actually used your finger. And that's they call it stimulus, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's the test we see officers perform when we're driving down the highway and they have either a pen or a finger or something, and they're moving it back and forth, correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, there's a form and a way to perform the first test, the HGN, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, are you aware how many passes are needed to actually do the accurate test?
How many passes?
Yes, sir. It's called passes. Every time the stimulus is moved to the right or left of the center of the face, it's called a pass. Are you aware how many passes it takes?
For the whole HDN?
Yes, sir. Well, let me help you. It's 14 passes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and every pass is done twice. Correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. And if you do less passes, it's an inaccurate test, correct?
Correct.
And if you do more passes, it's an inaccurate test, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And while you're moving your finger or your pen, you have to count 1001, 1002, and there's a certain number of seconds that you have to take between moving from the center of the face to the right or to the left, and then either holding it on the far right or the far left of the face of the person that you're examining, correct?
Correct.
And if you hold it for longer or less time, it could be an inaccurate test, correct?
Correct.
Okay, NHTSA advises that the HGN test, Officer Peña, takes 82 seconds. You have no doubt because you studied under NHTSA, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and I'm going to show you the first test you did, Judge. If it's under Calixto Tech, and I'll move for the
Okay.
admission of the HGN test for purposes of the motion to suppress that was conducted by Officer Peña.
Okay. Any objection, Mr. Basan?
No objections, Your Honor. I did, Mr. Villarreal did send us a copy, Judge. We have no objections.
Okay, it'll be admitted then.
This is the HGN test that you conducted on Mr. Villarreal. And to expedite matters, Officer Peña, I don't want to be stopping and going back and forth, but you are the person, I think Mr. Basan can agree and stipulate, you are the person conducting the HGN, and Mr. Guillermo Villarreal is the person, the examinee, the one you're conducting it. And I'm going to play it through, but when it gets to this point, I want you to pay close attention, or let's go ahead and play it.
So where is it?
I think he needs.
I can't see
He
it on the
needs to be
screen,
added.
Mr. Villar.
It's under Calixto Tech, Judge.
Okay,
Yeah, my
but it's, okay, it's dark
We need
though.
to share his screen.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, they need to give us permission to allow him to share the screen, Judge. I don't know who's the host there at your court, Judge.
It'll have to be a Romaldo or Janie. You to share the screen, Romaldo.
Okay.
Judge, and for the record, we stipulate that Officer Ruben Peña administered the standard field sobriety test on the defendant, Mr. Guillermo Villarreal.
Okay.
Are you able to share? They're not allowing us in, Judge, with the screen.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
That's Renee there with a mask.
Okay.
In front of the laptop.
It's still disabled. Both disabled participant screen sharing. No reason.
Can you share it, Romaldo?
Didn't show share. Let me ask Janie real quick.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Your Honor, what are we showing? Are we showing the
Actual
video?
test.
Oh, the test. The test you
What
sent.
he, the body cam, yes.
Okay.
Judge, wait, the body, if it's gonna be the body cam, Your Honor, I mean, the proper grounds haven't been established to admit that into evidence yet, Judge.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I can
it
go
was-
through all of that.
It was offered and admit. Did I admit it? I think I did.
He's coming, Judge.
Yes, Judge, my apologies, Judge. I was referencing the document that Mr. Villarreal sent us earlier today.
Okay. Why don't you prove it out, Mr. Villarreal? That being the case.
Officer Peña, you had a body cam on September the 13th of 2019 when you performed the standard field sobriety test on Mr. Guillermo Villarreal, correct? Is that correct, Officer Peña? Okay, and that body cam was
Yes, sir.
working and operable on the time that you performed the test, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that videotape was sent to the district attorney and it was provided to us as discovery. I know you haven't seen it yet, but I indicated it would be you and Mr. Villarreal. If you were able to see a still shot, you would recognize you and Mr. Villarreal. And we're just trying to show it in a second. And you have no reason to believe that that first test, as we're going to show it, has been altered or in any way moved or manufactured or altered.
Yes. That's it.
I'll show a still shot of it, Judge, and see if he.
Okay.
rec-
Can you share it, Janie?
Yes, we did already.
Okay.
Are we on? Okay. Okay, this is the HGN test. Officer, can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna show, before we play it, I'm gonna show, go ahead. I'm gonna show you, is that you, is that Mr. Villarreal in front of your body cam, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna play it for just a couple of seconds so you can listen to the voice. Go ahead. No se oye la voz. I'm sorry, we lost you.
That's right there. Put your feet together. Put your feet together. I was on the side.
Okay, is that you, Officer Peña speaking?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll move for the admission of the HGN test as recorded by the body cam of
Okay.
Mr. Officer Peña, Judge.
No objection.
It'll be admitted.
Okay, I'm gonna play it all, Officer Peña, but before I play it, and I don't want to stop because it's about several minutes, it's about a minute and a half. I want you to look at the top. Do you see where it says 559.41?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a timer on your body cam, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to be, when we hit the mark of 6 minutes, 00.07, I want you to pay attention because that's when you start the horizontal test on Mr. Villarreal, okay? And then I want you
Yes,
to
sir.
pay attention till it goes to 6.01.01, which is from this point where we're gonna start at 6.0007 to 0.01, it's about 53 seconds, okay? And that way we don't have to stop it, okay?
Yes,
Go ahead,
sir.
Ernie.
Okay. You wear glasses or contacts?
I used to.
You used to? Okay. Just keep your hands on the side, okay? See my finger right here? My finger. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay. With your eyes, you're gonna follow my finger. Do you understand?
Stop it.
Okay. Do not move your head, only your eyes. Do you understand?
There's where you start with 0.07 seconds. You see
My finger
that?
here? With your eyes, follow my finger, okay?
I am looking right at your fingers, sir.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's stop. Let's go back to this where all of us are. You see that, Officer Peña?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear? Okay. And the court will have this video to review it if he needs to see it again. But you performed this test, the HGN, in 52 seconds, Officer Peña. That is 30 seconds below what NHTSA recommends, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and Judge, I'll move for admission number 2, which is a document I forwarded to the I filed with the court this afternoon, and there was no objection to it by Mr. Bazan earlier.
That's
Is
correct.
a document that indicates that the standard field sobriety test on page number 3 or 4 of it should be performed according to NHTSA recommendations in 82 seconds.
Okay, it'll be admitted.
Okay, so if we take your testimony as stated earlier, sir, when I gave you the example of the California Achievement Test or the CAT, and I think only me and Ms. Maggie Hinojosa are familiar with that test, maybe Judge, but this test needs to be thrown out. Would you agree with me? Mr. Pena?
I mean, I don't know, but
Okay, that's fine.
I
Let's
don't
move on
agree.
to the
But
second.
yeah, I mean, if because of the time, I understand
Your
because
Honor,
of the
that question's
timing.
cause for speculation.
But the symptoms were there.
I'll sustain the objection.
Well, you don't do a test different to Mr. Guillermo Villarreal as you would do it to me. You would do it to any of us in this screen. You would do it the way it's required by NHTSA, correct?
Correct.
And in this case, the HGN wasn't done properly. Would you agree with me?
Correct on timing. Yeah, correct.
Okay. Let's move to the second test that you performed, which was the walk and turn, okay?
Yes,
And
sir.
this is a divided attention test, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what divided attention means?
Yes, sir.
Okay, NHTSA states that a divided attention test means that you give instructions and you look at whether the examinee is able to follow those instructions mentally, whether he's able to remember the instructions and follow them, and then whether he's able to physically perform them, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and in this case, test, what you do is you give certain instructions, okay? You indicated on your report that once you gave the instructions, that the client understood the instructions, correct?
Correct.
And you indicated that he complied with them, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's what you reported. So regarding the mental faculties of the accused here, you had no issues according to your report. You indicated he knew them, he understood them, and he complied with them. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you give him instructions, you ask him to count out loud, correct?
Yes, sir.
The step. And you give him the instructions about heel to toe, right?
Yes, sir.
And you give him the instructions about placing his hands along his side, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you see if he can count, if he's following the instructions and following the heel to toe, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You concluded the following according to your report, and I'm going to go over the failures that you claim you found on him. Okay. And let me know when we see the second part of the test. I want you to be watching out for these things. You claim that the client started, or my client started too soon and was swaying. That's one thing. You also claim that he was not walking in a straight line. You also claim that he did not turn the proper way as instructed. And you also claim that he took the wrong number of steps and did not count out loud. So I want you to listen to the number of steps he takes. If he tells you, is this number 9? And he counts 9. And then when he turns, he tells you, does this count as number 1 or no? I want you to listen to that. I want you to hear his voice. Are you there, Mr. Pena?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
You disappeared. Okay. I want you to hear his voice to see if he counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And I want you, one of the most important things is I want you to see you, Mr. Pena, gives Mr. Villarreal the instruction of having an imaginary line. Okay, walking on an imaginary line. Because those are instructions you have to give before the test is performed, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, do you have an objection, or can I just move to admit?
No objection, Your Honor. No
Okay,
objection.
we're
It'll be admitted.
Okay, go ahead, Rene.
Yeah.
Okay. This next test, for your right foot in front. Can you do that? Stand over here facing the camera. Can you do that? Can you right foot in front? Hold on. Right foot in front. Right foot. Okay. And then put your left foot in front of your right foot like this, heel to toe manner. Can you do that? You see how I'm in? Like this. Can you do that?
How was that again?
You see? Yeah, you put your right foot in front, and then you put your left foot in front of your right foot, hit a toe manner like that. Can you do that? Just like that, okay? Remain in that position, okay? I'm gonna instruct you what you're gonna do. Do you understand?
Okay, but I'll start that position once this test starts.
No, the test is not how you tell me you're gonna do it. It's how I'm gonna tell you you're gonna do it, okay? So you have to leave your right foot in
I'll
front.
do it right now when you tell me to.
Yes, but you have to stay in this position while I instruct the instructions.
But that's
It's-
gonna get me tired.
No, it's part of the instructions.
This guy.
Okay? Still like that, okay? Keep your hands on the side. Okay, so keep your hands on the side so you can relax. So you
Well, that's not. I'm not gonna be able to balance.
Okay.
You're gonna think.
Okay,
that I'm like.
whatever you need to do balance, just do it, okay? That's fine.
Okay. Well, that's.
So you have to select that to balance?
Well, I'd rather stand like this.
Okay, to balance?
Yeah, because I mean, this is not.
Okay,
People don't normally walk like this. Look, I don't feel steady.
that's fine. You said you need it to balance? That's fine.
Yeah, but I don't feel comfortable doing this because.
Okay,
Like,
That's fine.
We don't walk like this.
that's fine. You said you need it to balance, right? Just fine, I understand. You
Yeah,
need it-
but
you-
even with balancing, my feet are moving.
Okay, you need it to balance, I get it. So you're gonna be like this, right? When you start. When you start, you're gonna be like this. You're gonna count 9 steps, hit a toe manner. See? 1, 2, 3. You see that? Touching, hit a toe manner.
Well, I can see that you're. Are you sure you're not under the influence either?
Okay? So when you, let's say this is your 9th, assume this is your 9th step. Okay? You're gonna take a small series of steps like this. Okay, you're gonna count 9 again. 1, 2, 3. You see that? Will you be able to do that?
Probably not. Is there any other test that I can?
That's it, man. If you wanna stop here, we can stop here.
And if we
Because
stop, are you gonna arrest me?
Yes.
Why are you gonna arrest me?
Are you gonna do it or not?
Alright, let's do it, I guess.
Well, you're gonna do it, you should start. How I told you, right foot, left foot in front.
Okay, Mr. Peña, at this point, you haven't even told him to use an imaginary line, correct?
Correct.
Okay, now I want you to listen to the next couple of seconds because it's Mr. Villarreal who's gonna tell you, can I use the line here? Not you instructing him as you're supposed to, okay? And so far, you and him have spent, the test will take just a couple of seconds that's coming up. But the most part of this part is you and him have spent arguing back and forth, correct?
I mean, I wouldn't call it arguing. I was just trying to give instructions, but
Okay. Okay, but you
Not
give
arguing.
him, you're supposed to give him proper instructions, correct? Is that right?
correct.
You wanted him to start without even telling him you
Which-
can, you have to use an imaginary line. Is that right, sir?
Correct.
Okay,
But I did-
we're gonna continue playing.
Yeah, but I did say walk in a straight line the step.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
So remain in when you do it and stay in that position.
Can I use the line?
The traffic. But let me see. Now go ahead and use it. Yeah, we're good. It shouldn't take you that long. So go, stay on the line.
Said my left in front of my right.
I instructed you, yes. Okay. So when you do the steps, okay, just put your hands on the side, look at your steps and count them aloud so I can hear you, okay? Go. Whenever you're ready, you may begin.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 9.
Yep.
Now what?
So you're gonna turn around and count 9 steps again.
One after this, right? So this is not considered one.
That's 1.
2, 3,
Okay, last one. Okay, let's come back to the.
Okay, Mr. Pena, let's put everyone back on. Hold on. Okay, Mr. Pena, you said he did not count out loud as instructed. I think I heard him say 1 through 9. Did you hear him say that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and your report indicates otherwise. You also said wrong number of steps. I think he did 9 steps, as best as we could see with your body cam, correct?
So he did ask about starting at, he said, this one doesn't count. I said, that's 1. And he kind of from there.
Yeah.
Okay, but.
And remember, you're the so-called expert. He's doing this test based on your instructions. And he asked, does this count as 1 or not? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that tells you that his mental faculties are pretty good. He wants to make sure what he's doing, correct?
Correct.
You notice that you never told him to use an imaginary line, and that's one of the instructions NHTSA instructs you to give, correct?
Correct.
And then the other thing you claim is that he started too soon and was swaying. Now, starting too soon, you're the one that used the word go. Didn't you say go?
Yeah, but that was being based
That's
when he first started the test, when he said he couldn't balance himself. That was based on that.
But he never started the test at that point. It was you and him arguing back and forth or whatever, talking or disputing or whatever you guys were doing. But when he was ready to do the test, you said go, and he started. Right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you're the one who gives the test, and you're also the one who grades it, right?
Yes, sir.
According to your report, he failed all those things, but according to the video, I mean, let's go back to the counting out loud. You put that he never did that, and I think it was clear to all of us who heard it that he counted 1 through 9, sir. Right?
Yes, sir.
Now, the hardest thing on this test is putting the heel to the toe. For any person, the hardest thing is putting heel to toe, making sure the heel touches the toe from one foot to the other, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I noticed that in your report, you never stated that he failed that part. When you wrote your report that says Peña, you never state that he never touched heel to toe, correct?
Correct.
Now, the third test is a one-leg stand, correct?
Yes, sir.
And again, this is a divided attention test, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're looking for whether he can understand your instructions, one thing. That's on the mental capabilities or faculties, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you're looking whether he can perform the test, right?
Yes, sir.
On this particular test, you indicated on your report, you said client indicated he understood the instructions and complied. That's what you used. That's the word you used, correct?
Yes, sir.
So regarding his mental capabilities or abilities to understand this, the one-leg stand, you had no issues and no problems with, correct?
Correct.
And now regarding his physical capabilities or abilities to perform the test, you claim the following. You said that you claim Mr. Villarreal did not put his foot off the ground 6 inches. The second one you claim you claim the client was swaying. You claim he was shaky. You claim he hopped. On your report you claim that he did not count as instructed. And the count here is 1 through 30, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want you to listen to the following. I want you to pay attention because I don't want to stop the tape. I'm going to play it. This is on the third test. I want you to see if he counts 1 through 30 without skipping a number. I want you to also see if you see him hopping. I want you to see if you see him shaking. I want you to see if you see him swaying. And then, well, regarding the foot 6 inches, you never told him to pick it up higher or lower or anything, and your body cam doesn't show that. But listen, look out for all the signs you put on your report. And I'm going to play, I move for the admission of the one-leg stand part of the standard field sobriety test. Is there any objection, Mr.?
No objection, Judge.
It'll be admitted.
Let's go ahead and play that. It's a one-leg.
Okay, last one, okay? Let's come back to the middle over here. Turn on the camera, right there. Okay, last one, okay? Let's come back to the middle over here. Turn on the camera, right there. There you go. Yes, sir. So just put your feet together, arms on the side. Okay, whichever you feel most comfortable, you can raise it up off the ground, approximately 6 inches off the ground like this. Foot parallel to the ground. You see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. You're gonna keep counting, okay? You're gonna count to 30 seconds. You can count to 30, right?
Man, that's a long time.
Okay, well, I'm gonna time you here for 30 seconds. So if you count the 30-second mark right, it'll be on time. Okay. You have any questions?
Yeah, can I get my phone?
Not yet.
Because I would like to record this.
We're recording, man.
Yeah, but I want to record too. And
You can record and do it. You can,
So
but
are you refusing my right
look,
to record?
You can't record the CPSTs as you do them.
Yes,
Come on.
you can.
No, you
can
can't.
record anything.
So you can do it or not?
So that's against the law. You're telling
Okay.
me I can't record.
Are you gonna do this investigation or not?
So you want me to lift my foot off 6 inches off the ground?
Approximately
For
6 off the
30
ground.
seconds.
Yes, foot parallel to the ground, whichever you like. Okay, just keep your hands on the side and count it out so I can hear you.
I really don't know how far 6 inches is, man.
Approximately 6 inches off the ground. Approximately. When you're ready, you may begin.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Okay, that's fine. That's 30 seconds.
Mr. Pena,
Yes, sir.
the exam takes 30 seconds, correct?
Yes, sir.
And again, on your report, you indicated did not count as instructed. I mean, it was 1 through 30. You have no issues with that based on what we heard, correct?
Yes, sir.
You indicated he was hopping. I didn't see him hop once. Did you?
You see, on camera is different. I understand where you're coming from, but
Well, no. Listen to my question, sir. On camera, the only one moving on camera was you, sir. You were moving and shaking, but he wasn't. First of all, you were moving, shaking, and hopping, sir. But Mr. Guillermo Villarreal wasn't. That's what it shows, correct, Mr. Pena?
correct.
You indicated that he was shaking. The only one shaking there was you, Mr. Pena. Isn't that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
You indicated that he was swaying side to side. This man didn't move a bit. Is that correct, Mr. Pena?
Based on the footage of the camera and the angle, I mean, as you say, it's me moving, but I mean, really, I was the one there doing this
Yes,
FST.
correct.
So,
And that's a problem. That's a problem, Mr. Pena. That's exactly the problem, Mr. Pena, that you're the one who gives the test and you're the one who grades the test and you don't perform it as it's supposed to be performed, Mr. Pena. You're the grader of this test. You're the one who makes the decision. But based on what we've seen on these videos, on the 3 videos, Mr. Pena, you didn't perform an SFST, Mr. Pena. What do you think the NHTSA people, what do you think DPS would say if I send them those 3 videos that they apparently train you, Mr. Pena? What do you think they'll say? Do you think your videos will be used for training other officers?
yeah, I mean, any video can be used. There's always room for improvement. I mean,
Correct. But in this case, someone got arrested. This is not a game, Mr. Pena.
no, it's not. No one said it's a game, sir.
You took an oath, Mr. Pena,
Yes, sir.
to follow the law, Mr. Pena. And you came and told this judge that you were certified when in fact you're not. You have a certificate. You came and told this judge that he failed the first test when you performed it wrong, 30 seconds off, Mr. Pena. You came and told this judge that the second test he failed because you couldn't hear him count 1 through 9 and took the wrong number of steps. And we saw different on the tape, Mr. Pena. You came and told this court, Mr. Pena, that he was hopping and swaying and couldn't count on 1 through 30, and the video shows different, Mr. Pena. That's an injustice, Mr. Pena, because someone got arrested based on your observations. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Bazan, can you redirect?
Briefly, Your Honor, very briefly.
Sure.
Officer Pena, now, as you told me and defense counsel earlier, you felt like there was enough to arrest the defendant based on your initial observations on what you saw in his eyes, the red bloodshot eyes and the big pupils, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you didn't arrest him at that point, did you?
No.
Okay, so the standard field sobriety tests were still done, right?
Yes.
And based on your observations, they were done poorly, correct?
Yes, sir.
So it doesn't really matter what you thought when you made those initial observations because you still went through the process. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, when we saw the video of the HGN, is there anything that you saw that the defendant did wrong when you administered that test?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what were some of the things that you saw?
The large people side, the lack of vehicle tracking, and the next time is an onset in the 45-degree angle.
Okay.
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear anything you said. Sorry. Go a little slower, please.
Large pupil size,
Okay.
lack of vehicle tracking,
Go ahead.
and the jerking on the onset nextamis and on the 45-degree angle nextamis.
Thank you.
So then we saw the video of the walk-in turn, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in that video, did you observe or did you see the defendant interrupting you while you were giving the instructions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, are you required to start over and re-give the instructions if you're being constantly interrupted by the suspects?
No, sir.
Okay. Would it be in the suspect's best interest to just listen to the instructions?
Yes, sir.
Was that done in this case?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, when we saw the video, I want to take you to the first walk he did. After the first 9th step, was that a proper turn?
Yes, sir.
It was a proper turn? Okay. Now, he did ask you if that first step was considered a first step, right?
Yes.
Had you previously given him that instruction?
Yes, sir.
Did he comply with it?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, lastly, on the one leg stand video, you said the defendant did not have his feet 6 inches off the ground. Is that correct?
Correct.
In the video that we saw, were you able to clearly see how far his foot was elevated off the ground?
Not on the body cam.
No further questions, sir.
Villarreal?
Yeah, just a couple of follow-up.
Sure.
You said quite a number of things that he failed to do, Officer Pena, on your report, but the video shows otherwise, correct?
Correct.
Okay. No further questions.
Mr. Bazan?
Yes, Judge. One last thing that I forgot to touch on. Now, Officer Pena, based on the SFSTs, if an individual does poorly on 1 out of the 3, meaning he did good on 2 tests but did bad on 1 of them, is that enough to arrest the defendant?
Yes, sir.
No further questions, Judge.
Villarreal?
Okay, Mr. Pena, and one before I forget, Judge, I don't know if I moved to admit the 3rd test on 1 leg stand. If I
It was
haven't,
admitted.
It was.
It was admitted.
Okay. You are saying, Officer Pena, and I want you to listen to my question. You're saying that your training with NHTSA, with Texas Department of Public Safety, allows you to arrest someone if he fails one, and listen to my question, if he fails one of the 3 tests, is that what you're saying, sir?
I was going officer discretion, sir.
No, listen to my question, because you were just asked that question. You know, Mr. Pena, you know that all the training and all the research that has been done on the HGN, one leg stand and walk and turn, should be taken in combination, but not one test by itself. You know that, Mr. Pena. And remember, you're under oath, sir. Are you saying that the NHTSA book that you studied under the Texas Department of Public Safety training allows you to arrest an individual for driving under influence if he fails only one test out of the 3?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Basan,
No further questions, Judge.
did you all agree on venue in this case?
We'll agree and stipulate, Judge.
Oh, okay.
Agree and stipulate.
Next witness, Mr. Basan.
State rest, Judge.
Mr. Villarreal.
We rest, Judge.
Okay, counsel. So I know the arguments you're gonna make. So what I need to do is view the body cam in its entirety, and I'll make a ruling as soon as I do that, either later on this week or very early next week.
Okay.
Yes. Were they provided? Were they filed? I don't believe they have, Judge, but we can drop off a USB with the 3 cuts we have, because the actual video, Judge, is over an hour and a half long.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, let me look at the whole video then.
Okay. I don't have. If you have it, Mr. Basan, I don't have a problem.
Judge, what I can do, Judge, is I can copy it to a USB drive and I could drop it off in the court if that's okay.
That'll be perfect.
Okay. By when do you need it, Judge?
Whenever you can bring it over.
Okay. I have a scheduled trip to the office later this week, Judge. I'll take it then.
Oh, okay. There's no great hurry, but as soon as you can.
Yes, Judge. No, it'll be done this week, Judge, for sure.
Anything else, counsel?
Not from the state, Judge. May Officer Pena be excused?
Yes, thank you, Officer Penny. Appreciate it, sir.
Yes, sir. No problem. Anytime.
Take care.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you.
Anything else, counsel?
Not from the
state, Judge.
Okay, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Is that it, Romaldo, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
For today? Okay.
Yes.
Rena, we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, Judge, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Romaldo.
Maggie, see you tomorrow,
Bye,
Maggie.
have a good day.
You too. Bye.